I'm Johanna Beachy. I've been at the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund for just over a year now. I grew up right here in New Hampshire, so I'm really thankful that I get to be a part of the work that our ROC-NH team does to support our communities across New Hampshire. So today we're going to take a look at a recent case study and how natural disasters are impacting the lives of our neighbors and really what we're learning about enhancing resiliency. Before we dive deeper though into that, how we're approaching resiliency, we want to talk about resident-owned communities, or what we call ROCs. So a ROC is a neighborhood of manufactured homes. They're owned by a cooperative of homeowners as opposed to an outside investor like a private equity firm. And the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund actually innovated the ROC model in 1983. When we helped residents of what was then called the Meredith Trailer Park come together and purchase their land. And today that park is known as Meredith Center Cooperative, and they're now one of 151 ROCs across the state of New Hampshire that are permanently protecting more than 9,000 affordable homes. And to give you a sense of scale on this, the smallest ROC in New Hampshire is 4 homes. And the largest is 392 homes. 75% of the households are at or below 80% AMI. In fact, a park that we're working with right now, the average household income there is $30,000. So ROCs have been our focus for 40 years because it really takes an insecure form of affordable home ownership and it makes it secure in perpetuity. So it stabilizes lot rents for the people who live there. And we'll take a look just at why this model works so well. So ROCs bring together neighbors to collectively accomplish more than they would on their own, right? And they also share governance and community building while they're building self-reliance. Another reason this model works is because owning a home in most ROCs is more affordable than renting an apartment of similar size. And it's a wealth building asset for the homeowner. And then another reason is that the cooperatives build cash reserves to invest in infrastructure improvements so that they get to keep their communities safe, and they collectively choose and decide where they're going to invest those funds back into their community. So a ROC is a cooperative that draws its strength from the democratic process, and they follow the 7 international cooperative principles that guide all cooperatives. So in a ROC, the resident members elect from their neighbors who is going to sit on the ROC board of directors. And then the ROC board makes all the day-to-day business decisions of running their ROC. And then any really important decisions, they go back to the membership for a vote. So this model, it enables the ROC community to really make the important decisions about prioritizing what's best for their community and not just prioritizing profit, as you might see with a park owned by a private equity group. Now, while ROCs are self-governing, they are supported by community loan fund staff. So the ROC-NH team that I'm a part of, we provide a wide range of support on everything from governance to best practice to finance, capital management. It's really our goal to give ROCs the tools that they need to make informed decisions about the future of their community. And additionally, besides working with us, ROCs often will also work with property management companies who provide services like rent collection, annual financial reports, and help with rule enforcement in the ROC. And then the ROCs will also contract with outside vendors who provide services like tree work, snow removal, and other infrastructure care. And we know that because each ROC is unique, it's their own community, that it's important to note that there's not like a one-size-fits-all approach with ROCs. We've found over 4 decades of helping ROCs that they really thrive when they're given guidance and best practices to be successful. So, all right, so I covered what a ROC is and how it works, but let's just take a quick look here at the loan products that the Community Loan Fund offers for manufactured home buyers. Our goal has always been to identify barriers to affordable homeownership and then lower or get rid of those barriers completely. Now, traditionally, there have been really few options for people looking to finance a manufactured home. So we innovated loan products to help make their dream a reality. So more than 2 decades ago, we introduced welcome home loans. They are the nation's first fair fixed rate 30-year mortgage for manufactured homes. And prior to our program, manufactured home buyers were financing purchases through like personal loans, credit cards, and often predatory lenders. So our program lowers interest rates by as much as half for many of our borrowers, and it gives them a longer timeline to lower their monthly payments. More recently, we recognized that another barrier to manufactured home ownership was the down payment and the closing costs required by most lenders. So for many of the borrowers we worked with, they could afford the monthly mortgage, taxes, insurance of a home loan, but they didn't have significant savings set aside for a down payment. So our homeowners assistance loan program offers 0% loans to cover the down payment and closing costs. And then these loans are only repaid when the home is sold, refinanced, or until the first mortgage is paid in full. And as we talk about ROCs, that's just another important loan product that we offer. And as we look at that model overall, the ROC model, collectively, the community owns the land under the homes, and then each home rests on its own lot, as you can see here. But the neighbors cooperatively own the land together. And so overall, these loan products, they really help to lower the monthly housing costs and give residents the long-term stability that enables them to thrive. And then they can focus on building their careers, growing their families, or in a lot of cases, finding their perfect retirement home. And with all of our lending, we find that it's the combination of these loan products and coaching and guidance that ends up being really worth more than the sum of its parts. So let's take a look at resiliency through a case study of the Tanglewood Park Cooperative. Tanglewood is a relatively new cooperative. They've been a manufactured home park since the 1960s. And in 2019, the homeowners formed a cooperative. They purchased their park and they became a ROC. They became resident-owned community. And they have very engaged and committed members who really believe in the community cooperative model. So Tanglewood is a cooperative of 328 homes. So they're one of our larger ROCs that we work with. They're on 99 acres of land. So in a lot of ways, they're really kind of like a small village, right? They're tucked right into the center of Keene. It's a beautiful area and they are surrounded by hundreds of trees. Tanglewood has a 5-person board, which is about an average size for most of our cooperatives. And it's worth noting here, all of the board members and all of our ROCs, they're volunteers. So these are volunteers who've stepped up to serve their community by serving on the board of their ROC. Unfortunately, on July 16th in 2024, a microburst hit Tanglewood. And it caused, as you can see in the pictures here, just extensive tree damage across their park. This storm, it really put their cooperative in a lot of ways, the wider ROC-NH network to the test. Because this was just beyond any storm damage that this community had ever seen before. There were approximately 50 homes that were damaged by trees falling. And in the initial few hours after the storm, the Keene Fire Department was right there on site and they red tagged 18 homes. So this essentially meant that for structural reasons, those 18 homes, they couldn't be lived in, right? Until they were either repaired or in some cases with some of these homes, the entire home had to be replaced before it was safe to live in. So besides the obvious impact to homeowners in this situation with the microburst, the cooperative, it also faced a really significant burden of tree removal in order to establish safety in their community. So after the microburst happened, there were approximately 900 trees that were considered damaged or dangerous. In fact, in the first 48 hours immediately following the storm, there were 57 like high priority trees that were removed. And then over the next weeks and months, there were rounds of tree work that were happening in the park, and another 400 plus trees were removed during those rounds of tree work. But there was still an estimated 500 more trees that needed tree work or to be removed completely because of the storm impact. So in Tanglewood's situation, although they had an annual tree budget of $60,000, they had great capital reserves and they had capital improvement plans in place. It still wasn't going to be enough, right, to remove all of these dangerous trees and really to restore safety in their community, in their park. So they actually used their entire annual tree budget of $60,000. Then they pulled another 200,000 from their capital reserves, and they were quoted as still needing another additional 250,000 to remove the remaining dangerous trees and restore safety. So for us, this recovery process, it really showed that Tanglewood was living up to the cooperative part of its name. Tanglewood residents, they came together to help clean up their homes and their streets. They connected with emergency services, and they were just working together to reestablish safety for their community and for their homes. The city of Keene, the local Red Cross, and a lot of local community organizations, including Lions Club, Monadnock United Way, they all helped with resources and fundraising. These photos that you show here, one shows a Tanglewood board member accepting a donation from the Lions Club to help with the cost of tree removal. And then this other one that you see here is a sign for a fundraiser that some of the residents pulled together and put on to raise funds for safety in their park. Our experience for our team working with Tanglewood, it really highlighted for us ways that our team needs to continue to prepare ROCs for the future. These are some of the things that we've really learned and we're focusing on. So in particular, we're increasing our focus on helping ROCs to develop updated capital improvement plans, and that will better prepare them to be ready for future infrastructure needs in their park. These are really forward focused. And another one is to increase capital reserves, right? In Tanglewood's case, they benefited from having a capital reserve that helped respond to the disaster, but it still wasn't enough. So that's something we have to look at and help them increase that. And ROCs will have to consider allocating more, honestly, in capital reserves to better respond to unforeseen circumstances like this. Another one is site preparation. While trees provide many benefits, right, to homeowners, ROCs need to really proactively address potentially dangerous trees to mitigate future storm damage, right? And this may include increasing the budget for annual tree services. And then at other ROCs, we're really examining how other factors like drainage or flood mitigation can also be proactively addressed. And truthfully, the power of community, right? After supporting and working with Tanglewood over these last 8 months, for me personally, I've really seen that resilience in resident-owned communities. It's the ability for them to come together and keep moving forward, right? Even when really hard things happen. We know that these communities, they're gonna face challenges that can't be avoided, but when they have resiliency, they're able to keep working together through that challenge, right? And so we are gonna continue to evaluate, improve our best practices, but these are some of what we feel are tangible steps that we can take to improve community and individual household resilience as we're moving into the future with these ROCs.
Thank you so much, Johanna. Working with our ROCs, we've determined that there are 61 communities that are susceptible to loss from extreme weather. And we're coaching these communities to make plans and build partnerships to better prepare for the future. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jeannie Oliver, who is our Vice President of ROC-NH and Energy Solutions. Jeannie is going to talk about how we are working to reduce the energy burdens on some of our borrowers.
Thanks, Katie.